Hey Bedford friends, my name is Trey here at Bedford Greenhouses, and today we are going to talk about some really fun plant varieties that have just started blooming here at the end of the summer going into the fall. There's still some great plants that you could plant this time of year that start blooming really well this time of year, and two of those specifically are going to be your sedums, your stone crops, and your ornamental grasses. Two of my favorites just because it really adds that impact into your garden in the fall, which is sometimes hard to find. You have your asters, you have the annuals like mums and pansies and stuff, but there's still some really great perennials that'll come back for you every year, bloom really well late summer into the fall, and a lot of these sedum varieties even have really good like spring interest with their leaves and the different colors and stuff. So here in front of me we have a few different varieties. One of my personal favorites is the Rock and Grow Back in Black sedum that has really dark purple, almost black leaves, and you could see the buds. It's about to start blooming here in the next few weeks. Real nice contrast for the garden. I believe this is Coral Jade, another one from Walter's Gardens and Proven Winners in front. Real pretty coral blooms on those starting to open. On the other side of the table, we have Lemon Jade, which is a real nice kind of chartreuse color, green leaves, real pale blooms, real nice contrast for some of your other darker greens in the garden. We have a new one we haven't had before, the Rock and Grow Tiramisu. Real pretty kind of almost purple stems on these, reddish stems, and they're gonna have kind of two-tone blooms in the fall as the cooler weather kind of arrives. One of the best things about sedums is their tolerance for dry soil. They are great rock garden plants. I mean, you don't have to water them, but every few weeks they get established quickly. They'll get pretty large after the first 2 or 3 years, really taking up some space in the garden. And then there's a lot of lower growing varieties as well. We have the Rock and Round Bright Idea that's starting to bloom right now, has real pretty yellow leaves. Some of the pollinators have been on these today. We have an old Bedford favorite. We have the Lemon Ball sedum. Real great ground cover, evergreen in our climate here. Spreads and fills in those nice dry areas that maybe you can't get much else to grow. Another upright variety of stone crop is the Nightlight, another really pretty dark leaf variety. Real good again for contrasting all the other flowers and stuff you have in the garden. And then we have a lot of other different branded varieties as well, a few from Terra Nova. We have the old classic Autumn Joy, which has the nice pink flowers in the fall, some other dark leaf varieties. Double Martini, also from Terra Nova, starting to bud up and put on some color. And then you have, I think this is Siboldi, we have Coral Reef, Blue Pearl, another nice kind of dark leaf. Again, the cool thing about these varieties of plants, the stone crops, the sedums, is how well they really do in your dry soils. If you have really sandy soil, they're not going to need a whole lot from you. They actually would prefer not to be fertilized. They do much better with the nutrients that they just find on their own. And you actually see them decline quicker from being fertilized than not enough, as well as being overwatered is usually how you kill a sedum. But a lot of the lower growing varieties are fairly evergreen. They come right back up pretty early spring, and they give you a nice flower show in the fall when everything else is kind of on the back end of its flower power. So it's real nice to kind of have something blooming year round. And so I highly recommend the sedums, the stone crops, Proven Winners varieties. The ones from Walter's Gardens are great. All the low growing varieties, the Terra Nova ones are great too. So make sure you come and see us and grab some of those for your fall garden. Next we have your ornamental grasses, some of my personal favorites. I just really love the interest that they add to the garden as far as texture goes, as well as the seed heads and the blooms that appear in the summer going into late fall. You get a lot of interest with the blooms themselves and as they develop into seed heads going into the cooler weather. Birds and a lot of bugs just really love the seed pods, and the garden is just full of finches and other birds that are really enjoying the feast that has been given to them. Right here to my right, we have a really cool variety of Pennisedum. I believe this one is Hamlin. real nice kind of compact nature to its growth, and the gorgeous seed heads very profusely on the plant. We have Cheyenne Sky Panicum. It's actually a switchgrass. Real cool wispy flowers on the switchgrasses, and nice upright kind of vertical growth. You could tuck them into skinnier spots that you have in the garden if you don't have a lot of room for something to get super wide. It's a very good choice for those kind of spots. And then over here, we have the little blue stem, which is actually a native here. Very pretty grass, forms a nice little blue mound of foliage. And then on top, you get the coolest little upright seed heads. I believe this variety is Blue Paradise. Yep, Blue Paradise from Walter's Gardens and Proven Winners. Real cool silvery contrast for the garden. We have Etouffee Pennisetum, probably some of the biggest seed heads I've ever seen on a pennisetum before. Real nice contrast with some of your darker foliage. Perennials, looks really good with the hibiscus in front of that. We have a dwarf variety of pennisetum as well. I think this variety is called Little Bunny. A lot more compact, but still gives you nice impact with all of the blooms, and just stays nice. Would look really good on the front of a border, in front of a flower bed. We have two different varieties of muley grass, very popular here in Augusta and around the southeast. Real pretty pink flowers on the pink muley grass in the fall, and then we actually have a white variety as well. Very wispy, looks great in mass from a distance. You got some spots up in front of your house and you want to be able to see them from the road. Looks really good if you take 3, 4, 5, kind of group them together. It's real pretty as they're blooming. And then one of my personal favorites is the totem pole grass. This is also from Proven Winners and Walter's Gardens, from their Prairie Winds collection, I believe. Yep. Real nice upright growth on the totem pole. Does get some real cool kind of auburn tints to it in the fall. A lot of reddish growth kind of comes out on the leaves, and then you get the seed heads, seed pods throughout the winter. And then down one of our aisles, we also have, this is Blue Fountain Switchgrass, another nice upright blue switchgrass. And then last but certainly not least, as far as our larger growing ornamental grasses go, we have the Mexican feathergrass, which is a real pretty wispy kind of whimsical grass. Also looks great in masses. You have a bank or maybe a large area in your garden from a distance, and looks really cool in the wind when you get a big group of these all together and the wind blows, and looks awesome with some other contrast of things. So come see us kind of this late summer going into fall. We have lots of perennials still blooming, lots of salvias, black-eyed Susans, anything to really lift up the fall garden as a lot of other things are kind of declining. There's still some stuff that will add interest and keep it looking nice even into the cooler months. So thank you again.